front row. Sam Mayer, Shane Van Gisbergen, teammates from Stuart Haas on row 2. Here we go, off of turn 12. We are green in Portland.
Sam Mayer with an incredible launch from that restart zone is able to take the line that he wants. You see he gets down into turn 1.
Left that door open, he's going around.
There goes Mayer. Off the front end of Shane Van Gisbergen, Riley Herbst comes through with a race lead.
Wow, I can't believe what I just saw there. Sam Mayer gets the lead, leaves the door open, and allows Shane Van Gisbergen to get inside. Locks up the wheel and turns him around.
Yeah, I'd want to go back and look at that. It looked to me like Shane was trying to get slowed down. I was actually a little shocked from that view that we had. It seemed like Mayer felt like he had a little more of a gap on Shane and took that traditional line, but clearly left the door open and Shane filled the hole.
Riley Herbst said, "Thank you very much. I'll pace the field now."
Adam, we said turn 1, 2, 3 are going to be chaotic. I didn't know lap 1.
We're 3 for 3. 3 years here, and already we've had an incident in our 3rd race at Portland where the event has been impacted by what happens down in turns 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and this will be a little bit of a view from an aerial cam. You see Mayer moves back up, gets into that traditional line, and it just looks to me like he's a little bit cautious getting into turn 1. You see Shane's trying to get slowed down, but just makes contact, sends Mayer around, and as you said, Riley Herbst is able to capitalize on it.
And I don't blame that on Shane Van Gisbergen. I mean, Sam Mayer left the door open, he fills the gap, and you'll see Sam come down, not realizing that Shane's in there, locked up, and it's going to happen every time.
Let's go on board with Cole Custer. Happened right in front of him.
Yeah, good view.
Yeah, it almost looks like Shane locked the rear brakes up right there, trying to stay off of Sam Mayer. You know, typically at the start of these races, guys aren't overly aggressive. The one thing that we need to talk about here, though, very limited practice, obviously a little bit of qualifying. I think getting those reference points picked out, your braking markers into turn 1, everybody's still filling that out.
We mentioned that some good drivers are coming from the back after dropping to the rear because of those adjustments. A.J. Allmendinger in that category. Now Sam Mayer, who fell to 27th after spinning out in turn 1. By the way, when you miss the corner down there, and we saw a few drivers do it beyond Mayer, you have to maneuver through those A-frames. That's your debt to NASCAR when you miss turn 1 or turn 2.
Yeah, and the one thing that we have learned over the last 2 years is paying that penalty. It's not a huge penalty. We've seen some of the guys actually only lose a couple of positions if you can do that correctly.
Well, we saw Justin Allgaier last year from the lead rejoin in second and be able to finish second there on the last lap. Yeah, Brandon Jones there out front of A.J. Allmendinger, ran the ARCA race yesterday, finished second, getting some laps. But I've been really impressed with this 98 car out front so far this weekend. Fastest in round 1 of qualifying. Now out front, we know that these Stuart Haas cars will be good based off of Cole Custer's performance last year, but right now, doing a good job.
Ford's still winless in 2024 Indy Xfinity Series. I rewind Dakota when Riley Herbst won a stage. They played a little strategy, ran long when many were flipping the stage. So not totally shocking to see the 98 out front. They've got a lot of speed this year, and he was top 5 last fall on the Roval, so we know he can get it done on the road course.
And you see Cole Custer getting a little bit racy, actually getting into the side of Shane Van Gisbergen right there as they head onto that backstretch. This leads down into turn 10, which is a fairly heavy braking zone. I think the best passing spot on this racetrack based on the last couple of years. You see they're going to make this left into turn 10, turn 11 is the right. Heading into turn 12, if you're on somebody, you can get into the rear bumper a little bit and get inside of them right here. It's been one of the best passing zones, Trevor, we've seen the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's been great. And I love watching that footwork there because as a driver, you don't even really think about what you're doing. Your brain's just connected to those pedals and, you know, that pump you see with the left front there to check the brakes before you get into turn 1. We all do it without, it's just second nature. You know, you don't even think about it.
Yeah. Make sure I got the quote right. As a driver, your brain is connected to the pedals.
Sometimes. Maybe the wrong pedal sometimes.
Had a driver get off right there. I couldn't see the number on that car.
The 91, Kyle Weatherman.
Yeah, he got off, and you saw he came back on the track. That's where we talked about there being so many issues. Watch when he comes back on the track. We talked about this big lip and how thick that was, catching the front end of that splitter. Ooh, still not bad though. It didn't catch the front edge of that, which is what ripped that off. But you can still see. You have to be really careful of that, even if you have to come on the track a little bit slower, Trevor, to make sure you don't destroy your car.
Yeah, and I'm sure he saw what happened in qualifying. You see him change his angle at the last second, try to come across it sideways a little bit. really fortunate there to keep that splitter on the car.
Hey, we got to celebrate Weatherman. Last weekend at Charlotte, he didn't get to practice because they had an issue, and he was able to drive through the field, finish in the 11th position despite a penalty. So a really good effort for this team last weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Opening stage, 25 laps. Herbst is leading. Allgaier second. Van Gisbergen, Custer, Creed the top 5. Let's go to Josh.
Well, Adam, keep an eye on that 18 of Sheldon Creed out here today. He's been really strong when it comes to road course racing. Now, his biggest complaint earlier in practice today was the car was just way too tight. He couldn't push it the way he wanted to. Yes, they felt good about what they have, and he was good last year when he was with RCR in the 2 car, but just not a winning type of car, but a car that is a couple adjustments away from being that winning car that they need as Sheldon looks for that first win of his career in the Xfinity Series, Amanda.
And Josh, go ahead and take a look at that 16 of A.J. Allmendinger on the move here already. Had just made an overpass on the 29 of Perkins, but you saw the little chaotic start for the team. You saw A.J. swap helmets as well. It wasn't necessarily a radio issue as much as it was they were on the wrong channel. Ended up swapping to channel 2, and now the team is in perfect communication. But that car he is driving here today, that backup was set up for Sonoma. AJ told me they tried to get it as close to the car that they had this morning for practice and qualifying.
AJ being scored right now in the 24th position. And you talk about some of those drivers that had to drop to the rear. Among them, Jesse Love, the rookie's up 8 positions. Chandler Smith up 9 in the 81. The best of the bunch right now, Sage Karam in the 26, plus 11. He is scored right now in the 19th position. So a whole host of drivers coming from deep in the field and making up some ground in the first 5-6 laps.
Yeah, with the exception of that first lap, everybody seems to be being pretty kind to each other early in the race. Not surprised. I mean, Allmendinger, you talked about Sage Karam moving up 11 spots, 12 spots now for him. That's a lot of positions to gain in 6 laps. So this is one of those tracks, if you have a good car, you can pass here. There's 2 or 3 opportunities, 2 or 3 zones that you can get by people, and these guys are able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, and I tell you, Jamie, Jesse Love has done a phenomenal job all year, from the start at Daytona, being on the front row, to winning in Talladega. But, you know, this is his first time here in an Xfinity car. He ran here, though, in 2021 in an ARCA car, finished 3rd, so does have some laps on this racetrack. With it only being the 2nd race here, you never know who has experience.
Yeah, and I think about Jesse Love, Shane Van Gisbergen, and a lot of these guys, first year in the Xfinity Series. You know, we talk about only getting 20 minutes of practice at the track. They deal with that almost every week. I mean, Shane Van Gisbergen hasn't been to hardly any of the tracks that we're going to, and they're able to do that every week. Certainly a guy like that's a little more comfortable when we come to a road course show.
I mentioned earlier how NASCAR is going to officiate, missing the corner in turns 1 and 2. You just can't leave the track there, and if you do, you've got to drive through that maze of A-frames. Logan Bearden in the 07 was penalized at the start. Explain to us what we're seeing here, fellas.
Yeah, so what you have to do, where he is going to go, you got to zigzag. You got to go to the left of the one that says FS1 right here. You got to go this way.
Yep.
If you miss turn 1, if you miss turn 2, they are allowing you to go just through this direction. But because of where he stopped, he was a little confused on the rules. It was almost like what we see at some of the other road courses, where you just have to do a stop and go, but you do have to complete that maze.
2 years ago, there was no maze. It was a stop and go. Guys were firing in there, stopping and gaining positions off of turn 3.
They must have watched Ross Chastain at the Indy road course.
That's right. Riley Herbst leading.
right here. You need it again.
Tomorrow, the NASCAR Cup Series is back on FS1 under the shadow of the Gateway Arch. The best drivers on the planet lay everything on the line for 300 miles at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The pre-race gets us going 2 Eastern with a green flag at 3:30. It's tomorrow on FS1. Congratulations to Michael McDowell, won pole earlier today just outside St. Louis in Madison, Illinois. Here it's Ford out front too. Riley Herbst leading Justin Allgaier, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cole Custer, Sheldon Creed. Good start to the race for Parker Kligerman. Josh Bilicki driving the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's off to a good start as well. Sammy Smith, Ryan Truex, and Jeb Burton complete the top 10.
Yeah, as we watch this battle right here, I want you to look at Cole Custer right behind Shane Van Gisbergen. He has been all over Shane the last couple of laps. It's been able to get inside of him, Trevor, but he just can't get the power down to get the pass completed.
Yeah, through that section we just watched, from watching onboards from last year, some drivers elect to leave it in second a little bit longer, maybe downshift the first and 7. Cole downshifts the first every time, which typically gives you a good launch, but he's had a lot of wheel spin issues today.
Yeah, and I referenced this turn 12 being one of the best passing zones, but you have to get off turn 9 and be close enough to him that you can capitalize on it. As you see, he's just able to get to his bumper. Shane looks a little bit loose. You see him pushing that car all the way to the edge as they go out over the front stretch.
Shane's been pushing his car, as you said, a lot more than I expected him to. We watched road course racers, and we saw this last year with some of the guys that had crossed over with Jordan Taylor, and he is moving this car around a lot. Normally they look really smooth and under control, but he is tossing that car around.
Yeah, and you saw Cole get inside of him, show him the nose. But the preferred position, if you can't complete that pass going into turn 1, is where you saw Shane Van Gisbergen being. Later in the race, they're going to get a little more aggressive. Cole will push this just a little bit more. At this point in the race, it's not worth doing that.
I think you can tell Shane Van Gisbergen's been in the U.S. a little bit longer now, based off of what happened at COTA with his run-in with the 21 and the 17. He said, hey, you guys are aggressive. I'm going to play your way.
I thought you meant he was having cheeseburgers instead of Vegemite or something like that.
That too.
Things are getting aggressive at the front as well. Justin Allgaier right in the hip pocket of Riley Herbst right now, Amanda.
Yeah, and I'm sure Riley's looking at that in his rearview mirror, but Riley told me that the strategy here, he started third, wanted to get up into that top position as quick as possible. Said that racing here at Portland, you're constantly on offense and defense. He said that the one person that he's known that's going to make a late race charge is that 97 of SVG. Josh?
Well, an update on the 19 of Josh Bilicki. He's got 6 starts under his belt so far this year, but this is the first with Joe Gibbs Racing. When I spoke to him before the race, he said it's a delicate balance, right? He knows when you're in a Gibbs car, the expectation is to go for wins and at worst finish in the top 5. But at the same time, he said, hey, I got to treat it like I'm in the 92 car, which I'm in most of the other weeks. I can't push too hard because that's where I'll get in trouble. Well, right now he's running inside the top 10 in 7th position. Said that car is just tight, both directions, going both left and right, guys.
He's making a great impression today, no doubt about it, Josh.
The top 5 cars are starting to stack up here behind Riley Herbst as he loses a little bit of long run pace. Justin Allgaier made a challenge to the inside in turn 1. Was there, but was nice about it. Let him get down. But now as you see these cars stack up, the pressure is going to build on Riley Herbst.
Yeah, and when you see him stacking up like that, Riley's holding those guys up. He's been a couple of tenths off the pace between Allgaier, and I think Allgaier and Custer seem to be the 2 best cars right now. But as we watch that right there, you see how close they were in turn 9. Then they got on the straightaway and how much it spreads out. Do you see Shane really good at getting into the corner right there? And that's key because he can get inside of Allgaier if he can be just a little bit closer. But I think that the 98 right now holding those guys up just a little bit. You see Cole pull to the inside. There's 2 things happening there. He could be kind of faking out Shane a little bit. The other thing is the brakes could be getting hot, so you pull out a line, try to get those brakes a little bit cooler. The engine could be getting warm as well, so you're pulling out, you're just trying to get some fresh air into those brakes, into the engine, just to cool everything down.
Yeah, and you see that fourth drive issue we talked about off of turn 7, and SVG could just get off the corner better, and that's tough. You want to challenge the braking zones and make passes, but if you can't get off the corner, like you said, off of 7, there's no way to set up those braking zones.
Yeah, and you got to be careful the exit of turn 2. I saw Shane using a lot of curb, and the car kind of jumps. It's really hard to put the power down as the car's bouncing up and down. You want to be a little smoother through that area.
We're talking about the fastest cars and contenders. I introduced the program Sage Karam, mentioned earlier, coming from the back, plus 16, working on a few more spots here. He is legit today, driving that Toyota for for Sam Hunt Racing, and congratulations to he and his wife. New baby at home this week. What a great way to cap off a wonderful week at home. Come to the racetrack and get a checkered flag.
He'd love nothing more than to bring that fresh baby home a new trophy.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, we see Jeb Burton off the pace there.
Jeb spent a lot of time in the top 10.
Off the turn 4 and 4A there, was pulled out to the side. Looked like he had maybe lost power and run off the track some.
Well, that would almost be fitting for him here, because I feel like both years at Portland he's had something go wrong, and it's happened again to the 27.
Yeah, one thing to pay attention to as we ride on board with Chandler Smith is he downshifted right there getting into turn 10. It was a pretty big over ref. You cannot do that. You got to kind of time out those downshifts, and he's going to hear that, know that, and be a little more careful the next time getting into that corner.
I know we're bouncing through the field pretty quick here, but Parker Kligerman was the fastest car on the track the last 2 laps. We talked about those top 5 being held up by Riley Herbst. He was the first one in clean air, but now he finds himself on the bumper of Sheldon Creed in this traffic jam.
We're over halfway through the opening stage, and we don't know what the strategy is going to be and how it will unfold. But I would say this, stage 1 could very well be the longest run of the day, because once you do the stage break and you reset, all these stages scheduled for 25 laps with pit stops in between. So taking care of your car on this first run of the day, very, very critical. Jeb Burton was 11th. Trevor referenced his issues, and here he is on pit road.
Yeah, you see him shaking the car back and forth. It's going to be like a track bar issue, which is common at a road course. You'll see those brake have an issue. He obviously has some type of suspension issue on that car broken.
This team off to a real rough start in 2024. Had kind of gotten their arms around it in recent weeks, much more competitive, a lot more speed, but today really going to damage their chances to continue the climb in the point standings.
Oh, we talked about Jeb Burton. Shane Van Gisbergen said, all right, Justin Allgaier, you've had your shot at passing Riley Herbst. Now I'm going to take my go at it. He makes his way by Justin Allgaier in turn 10 there, and now he's going to put the pressure on Riley Herbst.
Well, he was running right around 5th, 6th in practice earlier today, and then he jumped to the top for a period of time. And Jamie, you said it took him like 4 laps to figure this place out. And the more laps he logs, you just have to believe he's going to get better and better.
Yeah, did you see he's taking a little wider entry into all these corners, and that tells me that his car's turning better, that the back feels stable. When you see the 98 turned in a little bit early, exiting a little bit lower, that car's not quite as comfortable. Even there around turn 9, ooh, we got one off right here.
Logan Bearden.
Yeah, second time.
He'll have to pit to clean the grill off of that. He's actually going to pop back on in front of the leaders right there.
Just really locking him up.
Yeah, he just got into turn 10 just a little bit deep. Really lucky that splitter didn't dig in and bite, but he will have to come in and clean the grill off of that car.
Hate it for Bearden, who made a couple of starts earlier this year and was really impressive in his debut at Richmond. Here we go for the lead.
Oh, yeah.
Shane Van Gisbergen to the 97 inside of Riley Herbst through the corner. Nothing doing. Crossover. Here he is. SVG on point in Portland.
What a pass he made right there. It looked to me like the same thing we were going to see earlier with Cole Custer trying to get by, but Shane was able to capitalize and do a crossover and get that really good exit off of turn 3 and able to clear Riley. Well, it'd be interesting though now to see, does he have a car that can get away, or are we going to see Riley maybe learn a little bit from being behind him?
We talked about Cole Custer. I thought we were about to see Sam Mayer version 2 there as the 98 squeezed him tight to the curb, but he was able to complete that crossover, and you guys are exactly right. I think he's able to drive away here. The bad news is for Riley Herbst, everybody else just saw how to get by him, and they'll try to set him up the same way.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if you're Riley Herbst and you see someone like Marcus Ambrose back in the day, Shane Van Gisbergen, AJ Allmendinger, when you see one of those really good road racers pull out a line, you know they're committed, and you know you have a couple of decisions to make. You can either race them off in the corner and get wrecked, or you can let them go.
Did you ever try to outbrake Marcus Ambrose?
I tried numerous times, failed every time.
You know, it's funny you bring up the name Marcus Ambrose, and we know what an elite road racer he was, but he and Shane, you know, both from New Zealand, Australia, they have a scheduled meeting every Thursday night. Maybe not every week, but they discuss the upcoming track. Marcus has been a huge beneficiary to Shane Van Gisbergen and helping him in his progress as he learns each track. Of course, he would be no help here because Marcus never raced in Portland. Closing on the end of stage 1, Shane Van Gisbergen out front of Herbst, Allgaier, Custer, and Creed. Next week, it doesn't get any better than Super Saturday on Fox. First, it's the Phillies Mets from London, followed by the Belmont Stakes live from Saratoga. And in prime time, you get the Dodgers and Yankees all on Fox and the Fox Sports app. I thought today was Super Saturday because I got to hang out with the two of you, you know? It's my Super Saturday. Shane Van Gisbergen leading, 7 laps to go. Opening stage here in Portland, starting to stretch it out over second place, Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, but Justin's been able to get by Riley Herbst. Same place that Shane did going into turn 1. Tells me a couple of things. Riley's struggling off turn 12, which he's a little bit slow down the straightaway. But as Justin has passed him, he's kind of matching the lap times, actually even just a little bit quicker than Shane Van Gisbergen out in front. So I think the 2 best cars have come to the top right here. Custer also seems to have a really good car. But Adam, you brought his name up a couple of times. The one that I have my eye on right now is someone that we didn't talk about so far today. It's Sage Karam. I mean, it's been really impressive to see the drive that he has made from the back towards the front.
We saw those Sam Hunt cars run really good last year with Connor Mozak in the 24 inside the top 10 for majority of the race. So really good job to this group.
There are certain tracks where Sam's cars just seem to flash, and you said it right here a year ago. They certainly did that.
And I love listening to this onboard, and you can see the throttle and the brake on the bottom left of your screen. But when they get through that back section, turns 4, 5, 6, 7, how little of throttle they're using through there. It's all about rolling, not getting the car slowed down too much. Then you get to this section, you cut across the dirt, You're just trying to make that as straight as possible. And then this turn 12 is all about just getting that good run on the front stretch.
Hey, on this car here, the only thing I see is that Andy's Custard logo on his right chest. Have you guys had a Cole Custer? I mean, he's got his own custard flavor.
You know, at Texas, they delivered him to the booth.
I was at the studio. I was not in the booth.
Well, I'm sorry for you.
Out.
I had plenty for both of us, Trevor.
98's really struggling on the brakes down into turn 1. See him slide the back of that car around, but just listen to the throttle as they go around through here. Very little wide open throttle. It's like 10, 20, 30%. You hear him just rolling it through there. He's going to downshift to get here in a second.
And right here in turn 5, there it is.
I guarantee you inside the car, it feels like he's on ice, just crawling around through there. But he wants to get a good exit right here off turn 9 because that sets you up. If he can exit right here close to Riley, you see Riley slide the back. That puts him in a position to pass into that 11-12 combo.
Yeah, teammate cars, that makes it really difficult because you've got similar setups, similar gear ratios. Makes it challenging to make that pass here. He's going to gain some ground here into 10, 11, 12. We've seen the vulnerability of the 98 through this section. As Cole closes that gap, trying to set up a run into turn 1. Not able to get off the corner, though, much like his teammate.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a huge surprise because you mentioned it. It's teammate cars. They're probably set up very similar. So if Riley's struggling in that part of the track, you're going to assume that Cole probably does as well. This is kind of the fake out that I talked about earlier. You see, he locked out the rear brake.
Gets away from Cole Custer.
Go around.
Slides off track in turn 1.
So now he's going to have to complete this maze. He'll have to go all the way to the left here.
Ooh,
and get.
Missed it.
He missed that first one, but I think he's going to be okay right there. That's such a split-second decision trying to figure out where you are on the track, and do you have to go through the first part of the second?
Yep.
Yeah, am I far enough along? But it did look to me like he completed what he needed to right there.
He had an issue in that portion of the track last year after driving from the back of the field. No way you write off a guy that's as good as Cole Custer, but he has hurt his chances running 4th when it got away from him.
Yeah, let's take a listen and see if you can hear the wheel hop when he gets down in to turn 1 right here. He's a long ways back.
Right there.
Oh yeah, you hear that? That's the rear brakes locking up, the rear end housing bouncing, and once you get in that position, you only have a couple options. You can let off the brake, which you can't do because you're already at the corner, you're too deep, or you can give it a little bit of gas and try to get the back of the car to settle down, and unfortunately
you're going to miss the corner.
Yeah, wasn't able to catch it there.
Now, once that wheel hop starts, it is a bad feeling. It's like hydroplaning. That thing's just bouncing and it's violent, and you're hoping you don't take out the guy in front of you.
Yeah, and that was a long ways to come back from. And I think that he probably is basing that on the fact that the 2 or 3 laps prior to that, he was making up a lot of ground on entry, thinking maybe he could get inside, but you're just right on the verge every lap of that wheel
I
hop.
think our past two winners just want to repeat what they've done. We saw A.J. Allmendinger with problems early on. Now Cole Custer did the same thing last year where he missed turn 1, had to go through those barricades to re-enter the track. Came back to win.
But add Sam Mayer to the list. I know he hasn't won here,
Right.
but he started on the pole, and he too had problems. So some of the favorites dealing with some adversities with 3 laps to go stage 1.
We mentioned all those names, yet all 3 of those cars find themselves in the top 16. I do like that about this racetrack. There are passing opportunities, and if you have a superior car, you can find a way around the car in front of you.
Yeah, and you want to make sure at this point in the run, we've got 3 laps to go in the stage. We know that's as long as you're going to go all day long. You want to make sure that you're really breaking down your car right now to your crew chief so you can try to get the air pressure adjustments you need, the wedge adjustments, whatever it is that you need to make your car better, you need to let them know that. And we see these guys right now flipping the stage.
Scheduled green flag pit stop. You do it here so you don't do it under caution at the end of the stage. Shane Van Gisbergen giving up the race lead. Now there are some different pit rules this weekend. They're competitive pit stops, a minimum of 63 seconds on pit road, Amanda.
We're taking a look at the pit stop on the 97. This was strategy play for this team. You think of Shane Van Gisbergen, a win here would give him an automatic bid into the playoffs. He did say to his team that the car was struggling with a little bit of rear grip early, but settled in as the race got going. Has great balance in this 97 right now, Adam.
They've been off to a wonderful start. So they have elected to give up stage points to come down and play the track position.
Which is crazy.
game.
I would have thought he would have wanted those stage points to that stage win because of where he is in the playoffs.
Well, we saw how difficult it was for him to pass for the lead, so track position obviously important to them. And this shows how athletic and how good our pit crews are every week, because these are just team members from these race teams coming over the wall that, front end mechanics or car chief, crew chiefs, changing tires, and he's just got to hit that at 63 seconds as perfect as possible to get off pit road.
What you say is perfect, but you can't go under it.
That's
because
right.
if you go under it, you are penalized. It's a 63-second minimum, yellow line to yellow line, and what these teams have done, they have managed how long does it take to get from the pit box to the end of pit road, and what does that leave us in the pit box to get our service done?
And I know we're entering the final lap right here, but I just would like to you don't ever want to be on the island all by yourself. He's the only guy that elected to do that. I think Shane's going to have a fast enough car. There doesn't seem to be a tremendous amount of tire fall off, but I would like to be in the masses. Knowing that all these other guys have stayed out, I would rather be on that side of this.
Well, and knowing that there were only 9 cars or 8 cars at that point within 10 seconds, which was the window you had to be within the leader that could make that. He pitted at the last possible second. Nobody else was ready to come to pit road, so that put him on an island. If he stopped 5 laps ago, that opens up the window for some cars that are further behind the leader to come down pit road.
So Justin Allgaier takes over the race lead. He's in front of Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed, Josh Bilicki up to 4th. Parker Kligerman is 5th.
It almost seems like Riley Herbst found a little something right here. Justin was starting to drive away, and I know Shane pulled off the pit, but it's like Riley got behind these guys and maybe learned a little something, finding a little bit of speed. As you see, he's closed right back up. He and Sheldon Creed closed right back up to Justin Allgaier.
Final time off of turn 12 in stage 1. Allgaier is a stage-winning machine. He swept at Darlington, he swept at Charlotte, and he's going to win stage 1 here at Portland. 9 stage wins so far in 2024 for Justin Allgaier.
A lot of playoff points there, Adam.
Big time.
Parker Retzloff goes around.
He was running just inside the top 12 a couple of laps ago. So we'll follow up on what happened there.
Yeah.
Getting stage points, Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed, Josh Bilicki, Parker Kligerman.
See what happened to Parker right here. He sees the last car in that line. I'm almost thinking that all those cars in front of him threw a little bit of dirt on the track. He got in that. You see, caught that inside curb and spun around.
Created his own dirt there on the left
Yeah.
side.
Mentioned he was just outside the top 10. 13th is where he was when he had his problem. Custer ends up inside the top 10, 7th after he missed turn 1. And all the way back to 12th was Sam Mayer after starting on the pole, and he had issues early. Stage 1 complete at Portland. 25 laps in at Portland International Raceway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Stage 1 is complete. Mentioned going to break. Allgaier with another stage victory. Sheldon Creed needed some points, got them. Great effort for Josh Bilicki, his teammate. Parker Kligerman, another one of those drivers that doesn't have a ton of breathing room above the cut line. You look at Sammy Smith, he came in 2 points out. Custer, after missing turn 1, ends up 7th. Truex up there with Austin Hill and Sage Karam.
How about Josh Bilicki? 2 top 10s in his 97 starts coming into this weekend. That is an opportunity for any driver to go drive a Joe Gibbs racing car. He's run a lot of road courses, kind of picks his schedule around road courses, so this is big for him.
Yeah, great way to capitalize on the opportunity he's been given.
Let's go back to our pit stop procedure, and we talked about it a little bit with Shane Van Gisbergen. They were the only ones to pit under green. So they just want to manage everything comfortably and make sure they get out in front of the leader and they don't lose a lap. Here, though, once you get over that 63-second minimum, these are competitive. So these teams need to make sure they execute on pit road when they come down under caution, because everybody else is going to be there with them and they'll be racing off pit road.
Yeah, and this is going to be a different look. We know that a lot of these guys that are going to change tires and be a part of the pit crew maybe used to be a part of a pit crew but aren't currently. So sounds like a long time, but based on what we have heard, this is about the time allotted they're going to need to complete all this.
Well, based off of what we learned on pit road practice, the 10 minutes that they had this morning, I want to get my stuff done as fast as possible, then sit in the box until the crew chief says go. That's our time to get to the end of pit road. Josh, what do you have on the 48 there?
Yeah, guys, I just caught up with the crew chief of the 48, Patrick Donahue, who said the concern was that they flat spotted that right front in qualifying, and it just kept getting worse, so they kept locking up their brakes during that run. Overall, the car just tight, so they're going to free him up with a wedge and track bar adjustment so far here. Amanda?
Won the 7 for Justin Allgaier, who just picked up his 5th stage win in a row. Told the team that he needs help with some forward drive and getting off the corners better. You take a look at the jack man. That is his crew chief, Jim Coleman, on that duty, Josh.
18 of Sheldon Creed, he said they feel really good about the car so far during that last run. He said his biggest concern, he was battling that rear the entire run. He had to take care of his tires, but otherwise pretty quiet on the radio during that last run, Amanda.
And Josh, it's been a battle for A.J. Allmendinger as well, but he has made some positions up in stage 1, all the way came into the pits in P14, but said he had no rear grip and also smoked the right front tire. He'll be looking forward to fresh tires, fuel, and out.
Race off pit road, and it's going to be Justin Allgaier in front of Sheldon Creed.
The big gainers here, the Joe Gibbs racing cars. You see Creed, Bilicki, and now Ryan Truex there. Chandler Smith from 11th up to P6.
Truex in pit stall 1 gains 3. Cole Custer gets 3 positions. Riley Herbst lost 4 in that exchange. Meanwhile, back to Shane Van Gisbergen. He's the lonely guy.
It's like, where are you guys at?
Come join me. We're starting stage 2 next. Chandler Smith had a great pit stop, gained some spots, and that's not the only thing. He gained a little debris here.
He's wishing he lost it. The tear-off gets stuck with that windshield wiper, rolls over.
Yeah, because we'll run in the wet on a road course, everybody's got the windshield wiper, and unfortunately here it collects that tear-off, and we'll see how this ends for him or someone else if it blows off and gets on their grill and they start overheating.
Yeah, he's just got to hope that that's not, I mean, it looks to me like that's not going to hurt his vision, but initially when he pulled that, it looked like it, yeah, and it's going to change direction.
No, that's a pretty big blob there on the right side.
But if I had to have it somewhere, I'd take it right there.
And now our Toyota top performer, Sheldon Creed, the best of the bunch in third. Mentioned Josh Bilicki, how strong he's been. Quiet afternoon for Ryan Truex, but a good pit stop. He's now 6th, looking to go back-to-back in his starts in the Xfinity Series after that win at Dover. Chandler from the back to 8th, and singing the praises of Sage Karam, who scored 10th, driving for Sam Hunt. Pacing the field today, the Toyota GR Supra. And knock on wood, he's had a quiet afternoon behind the wheel.
He hasn't had to enter turn 1 after the green flag.
All right. Get him restarted, have a sandwich, you know?
You'd look good in that.
Yeah, I would.
You'd look good in that. Going to get some Andy's frozen custard.
Oh, yeah.
You would look good in that.
So we're going to do the choose, and we do that just after we hit turn 9, heading down that back straightaway.
You know, the one thing that they have changed at all these road courses, as you see these guys come to the choose, is that the acceleration of the restart zone is way back there in the middle of turn 12. And the idea of that is to try to get the field separated, and it seems to be working. That being said, we saw Sam Mayer get that huge jump. It looked like he was, going to be able to get through turns 1 and 2 easily, and Van Gisbergen gets into him. It'd be interesting to see what Shane chooses to do here. If he gets that start, does he defend into turn 1? What's his plan?
Well, and I see a lot of cars favoring that inside lane with the leader because it is so far before you can pull out a line. Sammy Smith was the first car back there behind Sage Karam to take the outside and gain 3-4 rows.
Off we go in stage 2.
Oh, you see Sheldon Creed gets to the inside of Van Gisbergen heading down into turn 1. Incredible to see the restarts he was able to get. I don't know if Shane missed the gear there or if Sheldon just timed that out perfectly.
Oh, that was close.
Allgaier dives in for the race lead in front of Creed.
Oh, Van Gisbergen loses all his momentum along with Cole Custer. You see Truex get to his inside.
Josh Bilicki did the same.
Well,
yeah.
Now that 97 is in a dogfight. He's in a defensive position. Everybody's going to try to dive bomb here, and it's just a hornet's nest.
Yeah, and everybody knows he's good. They're not going to give him any extra room. You see Austin Hill on his inside. These guys are all trying to get single filed out. The good part about this section of the track on a restart is it's pretty slow. So it's a little bit easier to run side by side.
We see Jesse Love locking up the left front there, sliding through turn 7.
Yeah, now this backstretch, really fast. It's also curved. You want to favor the inside of it. You see guys get stuck on the outside. It looks a little bit rougher to the outside, but this is going to bring in that passing zone. These guys all, I think we saw the tear-off actually finally fly off of Chandler Smith's car.
And some really, really good.
Oh, Herbst looks like he slid off the racetrack right there. Maybe somebody got into the back of him or he got into the dirt a little bit too much.
I think he was able to keep it rolling. We got damage on the 97 of Shane Van Gisbergen. A lot of our contenders to win this race find themselves deep in the field with damage now, sliding on and off the racetrack. Riley Herbst under attack now from Sammy Smith.
Yeah, and that damage on the front of the 97, I don't think that's going to get better. There's some bars up there. If that gets pushed in, it might be hard to turn to the left. You see that rubbing, that right front tire might get caught on that.
He was the race leader. Now he's fallen back to 7th. Talking about Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah,
Riley Herbst able to hold Sammy Smith off for 9th.
Yeah, and the other part of that tire rubbing is the tire gets hot and you just lose handling of the car. We'll have to see if that self-clearances or if they're going to have to pit and work on that.
I mentioned Sammy Smith. He's had a good restart. He was 14th after pitting from the 6th position. They had problems on pit road. So did Parker Kligerman. He was 5th at the end of the stage, but fell back to 7th 15th. They had a pit stop of over 70 seconds.
Yet this could have easily been the battle for the lead, right? Sam Mayer, Parker Kligerman, AJ Allmendinger, yet they're battling for 12th place after stage 1 of this race.
And let me say, the pit stop of 70 seconds, I'm talking about line to line. The pit stop itself was not 70 seconds. We're doing our pit stop math a little different today.
That's right. Here's a replay here. See where this 97 might get that damage from that we're taking a look at. Right into the 00. Bounces off that curve you talked about earlier. Shane's been using that curve a lot.
Yeah, and you get pinched off a little bit there, and you hit the curb, and it throws your car out. We're right on board with Cole Custer right here. You see Shane actually locks up that right front getting in.
That angle
I don't
there.
even know if Cole knows that Shane's on his inside right there, but Shane jumps across that curb and gets that fender damage. I don't see that smoking near as bad as it was earlier. It's either self-clearance itself, or it's rubbed a hole in that nose where...
Well, it used to with the metal body. There's no chance of that popping out. Now with these composites.
So much has changed for him because not only does he have the damage and the impact of that maybe now or long term, but you lose control of the race.
Well, and he's a great driver, but he's got the right front fender tore up. Now he's got the left front fender tore up. It doesn't matter how good you are if you don't have a machine and a car capable of doing it. You got to get to the end with your car, and he's already tore up both sides of that.
He's checking every box of a problem right now with Shane Van Gisbergen when he had it all right in front of him. There goes Sammy Smith in the 8. Coming off his best run of the year at Charlotte.
Be interesting to see how he ended up on the inside of the track, whether it was a slow spin or just contact with somebody.
Smith was 10th. He's fallen outside the top 15.
Yeah, I'd say that was an aggressive move by Shane Van Gisbergen getting to the inside of Ryan Truex. But like I talked about earlier, when you have these guys that are really aggressive on road courses and you're in Ryan Truex's position, when you are looking in your rearview mirror, you hear the spotter say that and you know who it is, there are certain guys that you challenge and there are some that you don't. And those guys that you know are fully committed, you just can't do that.
Well, he was challenging his teammate right there, smoking the right front tire.
We're 8 laps into stage 2. And the word of the day starting to become aggression. We're seeing it from everyone. Allgaier leads Creed and Bilicki in Portland. Underway, stage 2 here at Portland for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And don't look now, but some of those drivers that we were concerned about because they had problems are starting to work their way toward the front. AJ Allmendinger is in the top 10. Sam Mayer is back to 11th as he races Austin Hill. Mentioned the pit stop issues for Parker Kligerman. He's knocking on the door. The fast cars are really surfacing.
Yeah, but Adam, I would say it's been a little bit of a surprise how hard it's been for AJ to get up there. Not near as quick as what we thought he would do. Last year, Cole Custer went to the back. He drove to the top 10 before the end of the first stage. AJ doesn't seem to have the pace in that car that he needs, and I know that Van Gisbergen led early, but I don't see the Ocala cars being as dominant as we have seen at the road course, especially like at COTA just earlier this year, how much quicker those guys were than everybody else.
Well, we've talked a lot about his teammate, but keep in mind, AJ Allmendinger set the foundation for this team. He's been there since 2019, found victory lane after 5 races, and really brought them to life at college racing, put them on the map, especially in road courses, so they've done a great job there. But these JGR cars, I want to go back to them. Having those first 4 stalls on pit road allowed them to really time out those pit stops and gain track position. You see Chandler Smith, Ryan Truex, but how about 3rd place there? Josh Bilicki having the run of his career. And we talked about it earlier. This is exactly what you want to do. When you get in a fast car, you have to take advantage of it. Show other team owners of maybe smaller teams that need a full-time driver what you can do with the right equipment.
Yeah, and you know, guys, it just seems like we're in our 3rd year at this track. It's getting harder to pass. First year, I know we had the rain. It was a little bit of an outlier. Last year, we just talked about, Van Gisbergen's off. You see, he's going to have to cut back on, and we've talked about this. Be careful. Don't get too aggressive getting back on. He had a good angle there. Yep. Coming back on. Actually came on quite a bit earlier.
Yeah, he did.
You see where that curving started is where that really thick lip was.
Lots of challenges early in stage 2 for Shane Van Gisbergen.
It almost looked like the front of that car started bouncing a little bit.
Right there, come back on. It's maybe too much speed.
Yeah, and I think some of that, guys, and Trevor, what do you think? I just see some of that being the dirt that's thrown off the car in front of you, magnified with you getting in there just a little bit too deep. And hey, they're pushing it for everything it's worth right there.
Well, he's lost the lead twice, essentially, because of restarts, and I think he's just trying to get back to the front, pushing a little hard. You see the car in a 4-wheel slide. That's normally a little too much speed if you've got both ends of the car sliding around. That's not a balance issue. You just got in there deep at a bad angle. Got a left front down here on the 5 car.
Now, Anthony Alfredo's had such a good year so far. Won the $100,000 at Dover in the Dash for Cash. Came in above that playoff cut line. Fought through a lot of adversities last Saturday at Charlotte for a top 20 finish, but an unscheduled pit stop here halfway through stage 2 for Alfredo.
Makes it back to pit road without losing that tire carcass. Shouldn't see a caution here from that.
He was 28, and a reminder, the rules are different when you make a pit stop in the situation for Alfredo when you come down and you just have to change a tire because a tire has gone down.
Still going to lose a lap here as we see the leaders coming by pit road. He obviously just entered to fix that left front tire.
It's interesting to hear Allmendinger run that car all the way out. Oh, he's got some contact right there with Sam Mayer. But you heard AJ run that all the way up to the rev limiter, and normally you want to shift just before you get to that, and that's what allowed Mayer to get that run. Now Mayer's lost all his momentum. You see Parker Kligerman gets to the inside. That's so frustrating. Mayer went from, oh, now he's going to get pushed off the track.
Got a little pit check there from Parker.
That's
Ed Jones waiting in the wings, driving the 24 for Sam Hunt. We've talked so much today about Sage Karam in the 26. His teammate is surfacing now inside the top 15.
Yeah, you have to be so careful at this track because there's so many back and forths. You give a hip check, you're on the wrong side of the corner when you get to the next one.
Well, there's so many fast cars. I mean, my goodness, we're talking about 10th place with all of our ringers here.
It is impressive to see Ed Jones up there battling with those guys. It's so hard when you come in from another series to be able to compete with these guys. But that's a really impressive performance.
They had a 29-year-old from Dubai, 35th at COTA earlier this season. But this weekend has seemed to have a little more confidence, and it's showing in the race.
And Trevor, as we watch those guys go through 10 and 11, it just seems like everybody keeps getting more and more aggressive on cutting that corner off and putting more dirt on the racetrack right there.
20 is Ryan Truex, 26 is Sage Karam, and just behind them in 10th, AJ Allmendinger. The Dinger got to 10th, and he's kind of stalled out right there, hasn't really been able to push past him. What about that 26 today, Josh?
Well, yeah, guys, and for Sage Karam, this is a guy that started at the rear of the field for this one, flat spotted those tires during qualifying. But when I talked to his crew chief before the race, he told me the thing about this 26 car, it is very good on the long run. He said, I've been talking to him all race long to make sure he knows, hey, we have a very strong car. Don't burn up your stuff. Make sure we are there at the end. Well, you see he's been going to work all day long into the top 10 right now, and they know if they are a player at the end, they have a chance to go out here and get a win, Amanda.
Josh, right behind that 26 is A.J. Allmendinger that just got on the scene. He was radioing to his team that he feels slow out there, but watching his lap times a few back, he was running the fastest lap here at Portland. But you guys know A.J., he is passionate. Unless he is contending for a win, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, A.J. is always aggressive. I just sitting there watching Sage Karam in front. You know, he doesn't get raced the same as, as you see, almost gets in the back of Truex. He doesn't really get raced the same because he's not a regular. And Trevor, you know this as well as anybody. When you're a regular in the series, there's a little more give and take that goes on. When you're kind of the outsider that comes in, guys don't race you the same. And Sage has been fast at a lot of races. I think back at him, was it at Coda that he had the run-in with Parker Kligerman. A little bit of words exchanged after the race, and that had a great run going until right there at the last lap.
Well, it also doesn't help when you're known as a road course guy and they're like, hey, I got you covered, buddy. I know I run ovals, but I can hang with you. You know, to your point, though, about regulars, hey, it can go the other way. You think about Cole Custer and Austin Hill last week. If they're able to get beside each other on the track, you never know what you'll see. So history can catch up to you at road courses as well. Yeah, and I'm thrilled to see Sage having the run that he is. He was actually a teammate of mine at the Rolex 24 years ago. He was an IndyCar driver at the time, came in and ran that. Really talented driver, and he's been trying to make it in the Xfinity Series for a while. Nice little home here he's found, put together a really solid performance in the 26 car.
You mentioned he was an IndyCar driver. He actually skipped his high school prom to qualify for the Indy 500.
So where else would you rather be, right?
So there you go. Had a little party for him in the garage area.
I don't think I ever went to a prom either, Adam.
Well, that's not because you were racing. It's because you couldn't get a date, Trevor.
What kind of hair?
I thought I was going to say that about you.
Hey, listen, Jamie and I both had the highlighted hair in high school. What did you have for hair, Adam?
I had hair then.
Okay.
You know, we're talking about part-timers, and I know that we think of him as more of a regular, and that being Ryan Truex, who's right in front of Karam, but he doesn't get to race all the time. It impresses me, and I understand the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing has been great this year, but when he shows up, it doesn't matter what kind of track, he just seems to find his way, and he had never seen Portland before today.
Yeah, he's doing an unbelievable job this year, and even though he's not getting seat time on the track, he is Joe Gibbs Racing's development driver on the simulator, getting tons of hours every week, helping with their tire modeling and getting the setups right for these race cars, so that can pay off big time. You think about guys like Corey Heim that do that in the truck series. Those simulators now allow so much development of these young drivers, and Ryan Truex has been around for a long time. We were teammates at MWR actually when he ran in the East Series, and has found his way into good rides here. Obviously, in this 20 car today is in a great opportunity.
Well, and we talk what they've done this year, 3 wins with 3 different drivers. We can highlight the drivers all we want, but the one constant is the guy in the pit box. Tyler Allen is a first-year crew chief. He's won with 3 different drivers, Nemechek, Almirola, and Truex. A lot of credit to he and this race team for the way they approach all these races with the various drivers, driving styles, and levels of experience.
It almost reminds me of Adam, having to deal with different drivers
there you
in
go.
the booth every single. So you'd be a good crew chief as well, buddy.
Oh, yeah, I'd be a good crew chief.
Well, it's not just that 20 group, though. Joe Gibbs Racing had to hire 3 new crew chiefs this year. So there's the only experienced crew chief is that on the 81 of Chandler Smith there with Jeff Mindering. Doing a great job as well.
I see, guys, as we ride on board with Allmendinger right here, a lap or so ago, I saw Sage Karam come from quite a ways back to pass Ryan Truex down into turn 1. It's a little more difficult to pass this year, and you see guys taking a little more of a risk down into turn 1, knowing that is the heavy braking zone. And even though they can't, you see how it's kind of the accordion effect as they come off of turn 12. If you think you have any shot at getting inside of them, guys are taking a little more chance, and as we get deeper in the race, we know that you just continue to get more and more aggressive.
8 laps to go in stage 2 at Portland. Could we see some strategy on the horizon? Justin Allgaier is the race leader. He's been dominant today. 18 circuits out front. Creed, Balicki, Custer, Chandler, Smith, your top 5. Getting down to it, stage 2 unfolding here at Portland International Raceway for NASCAR's Xfinity Series. Great to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon with Trevor Bain, Jamie McMurray. I'm Adam Alexander, Josh Sims, Amanda Busick, hanging out on pit road. Allgaier trying to get the stage sweep here. And what's going on is Allgaier leads out front. Allmendinger with a bit of a slide there.
It almost looked like when he slid, I thought the car stopped running. He slowed down so much right there, but he got it gathered back up and got going, and now he's got to start back over, trying to get back by the 24th, 48.
Yeah, and again, I say this field is stacked. I mean, the ability to create speed from our top 10. You don't see A.J. Allmendinger and Sam Mayer stall at 10th place very often, so I can't say that enough tonight, how good our top 10 is.
Just looking at those drivers in the top 10 and all the problems that have existed there among that group. Various issues, some of them before the race even began. Top 3 have been pretty solid, conventional all day long. After that, you can put an asterisk by where all those other guys are running because of what they've had to overcome.
I mean, really, we haven't talked about our leader much, Justin Allgaier, because he's had a quiet day, right? He's got that cherry scheme. He said no corn on the car this week with Brandt. Been with that partner since 2011, so only in the 7-car 9 years, but with that partner for much more. I know he's would like to get a road course win. It's been a while for him, even though he's won oval races. Love to get it done here. Finished second last year, so close.
And he just looks so smooth on the racetrack. You watch, not using a ton of curb, not sliding the back of the car. I mean, he's making it look easy. And he and Creed right now clearly running the fastest lap times. Such a smooth, calm race, like the exact opposite. Oh, you see Kligerman's off.
The opposite of that, you mean?
Yeah, that is. See what happened to him here. So that's in that same section we've seen so many cars go off in, whether it's from the dirt being thrown out from the car in front of you, same exact place. Makes you think somebody maybe just run off the track right there and thrown a lot of dirt. To to see two guys in the same lap go off.
What's bad for both those drivers, Kligerman and Sieg, they need those stage points. You know, just hanging out right around the cut line, and Kligerman was there to get him with 4 to go in the stage, and now is probably going to have a hard time getting back unless we see something unfold that we don't anticipate here in the last few laps.
See that dust cloud you've been talking about, and that's an off-camber corner. The good thing for Parker, though, is he only loses 3 spots after running off the racetrack there. He is trying to get on that access road and get turned to come back on. See that aggressive turn, knowing how rough it is getting back on if he waits too long. We see 39 go around.
And you almost wonder if Kligerman goes off because someone threw some dirt off the track.
He throws some
Sieg
more
goes
on.
off because Kligerman threw some dirt on the track. Yeah, it just kind of compounded as those guys all went down through there.
But as I said, a lot of road courses have gravel traps or sand you get stuck in here.
Very forgiving at this racetrack.
We see multiple drivers making mistakes, things that would end your day at other road courses, and they're able to maintain somewhat track position.
Austin Hill, 13th. By the way, Ryan Sieg was 17th when he went off track, and you mentioned Kligerman was in position for stage points. He was 10th, and now back in that 14th spot.
Sometimes when I watch these Xfinity races at road courses, it makes me think about rental go-karts, Jamie. You can go in there, slam, throw it in
No
there.
consequence, right?
What do you mean rental go-karts? Just rental cars, period,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
I'll drive it in there. It's a rental. 3 Gibbs cars inside the top 5, but Chandler Smith, the last of those, has company late in the stage from Shane Van Gisbergen.
It's incredible to me that the 97, first off, that tire stopped rubbing, but man, the damage to his car and that he's still able to run really good lap times.
He's 8.7 seconds behind the leader. That's right on the edge of where you need to be to pit under green, right? Pit road's going to close here with 2 to go in the stage. This is where it's got to happen if someone's going to come under green and flip it that way.
Well, the nerves are off now. These crews have made a pit stop under caution. If I'm in that window, I'm pitting here. I'm jumping the stage. We've seen people stalling out, not able to get track position. I know it didn't work out for Shane Van Gisbergen, but we have that data to know how far back he was. I'm going for it.
And they elect not to do that here. Pits have closed with 2 to go in the stage. So the only one to play the pit road games and pit under green today, stage 1 or stage 2, was Van Gisbergen in stage 1. Worked for him there, doesn't do it here. And Justin Allgaier out front by nearly 2 seconds, going to try and get the stage sweep for a 3rd consecutive race. He was one of our pre-race favorites, just like this guy, the 00 of Cole Custer, 4th right now, Amanda.
Yeah, no one knows better than Cole at being at the right place at the right time. He was telling his team that he's just having a hard time getting off these corners, that he just can't get the car to roll. But you look at that, it's kind of reflected in his lap time. But last year's winner started 4th, currently running 4th.
The one thing about when we come to a road course too, you can explain to your crew chief what you're fighting, but you're so limited on the pit stops because typically, unless you're fighting, you know, a handling characteristic that's different to the left and the right, it's hard to make a change with wedge, and really you're just changing air pressure to try to help with grip overall.
Final lap, stage 2, and some lap traffic for our leader. Allgaier going around, or trying to go around the 5 of Anthony Alfredo, and as he deals with him, 18 of Sheldon Creed starting to creep back into the picture.
And again, I know that these pit stops are so different, but I bring it up because Sheldon Creed, Josh Bilicki have track position. We saw them leapfrog multiple cars. So if you're Justin Allgaier, that lead's great, but that doesn't give you a big cushion here. Coming on the pit road at the end of the stage, taking those tires, it's going to be really tough to hold that lead.
They have nothing to worry about. Jim Pullman is on the jack.
You think Larry Mack ever changed time?
Uh-oh.
Matt DiBenedetto.
Yeah, Matt DiBenedetto stopped on track. We stay green for now. Could be irrelevant as this is the final lap of the stage. Allgaier getting by Alfredo, heading down to turns 10, 11, and 12 for the final time in stage 2. There's the caution, and Allgaier can now cruise.
For Matt DiBenedetto there, I was going to say, we've all heard the stories. Back in my day, I was on top of the pit box and changed tires. I never thought I'd see it again, but here we are today.
Allgaier's just been remarkable when you look at the stages. 10 stage wins in 2024, and he has now swept the stages in 3 consecutive races. By the way, 10 stage wins, that's the most all time through 13 races. Question becomes, can he finish the deal? Did it a couple of races ago at Darlington and able to do it last Saturday at Charlotte. And the stalled car of Matt DiBenedetto is the reason for the caution. And, oh my.
Is that a coyote?
We've got wildlife on the loose.
Oh!
Only in the
my
Great
Lord.
Northwest.
Whoa!
Holy smokes.
Oh my.
That's a pass-through penalty, I think, right there. $50 down, 25 to go for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here in Portland. Stage 2 complete. Allgaier with another sweep. Those 6 stage wins in a row. That's a record, by the way. No one's ever done that in the Xfinity Series. Sheldon Creed having a good day. 17 stage points for him. Another shout out for Josh Bilicki. Riley Herbst has had a few bumps in the road, but he got 13 stage points. Cole Custer, his teammate, in there with 11. Pretty solid afternoons for Shane Van Gisbergen, Parker Kligerman, Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, and Sage Karam also collecting some stage points here today. Got the campers out. Fans are out in full force. You knew they would be here today because the sun is shining. 2 years ago, they came
showed
out
up in the rain.
rain.
That's right. That's right.
Hottest selling thing at this race 2 years ago was a poncho, actually. So we're racing in Portland today, then we'll make the 620-mile drive down the West Coast and race in wine country next Saturday afternoon, live on FS1. Sonoma Raceway playing host to round 14.
Sonoma, one of my favorite racetracks we run all year long, not just because... What's going on here, Adam?
That's Scooter Gang.
Well, that guy's tired on the left.
That's the police escort that will take us from Portland to Sonoma.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll have fun driving. I'm going to fly out there. 11-year anniversary, no better place than go
Oh,
out to Sonoma for the
Trevor.
race. You
Well,
know,
how about that? It's nothing for you to work your anniversary trip
Into
into a
work.
race weekend.
Hey, we got married on a Tuesday and went to Iowa the next weekend. We won the race, so it worked out okay.
Well, if you did your honeymoon, in Iowa, and no offense to Iowa, we're going there in a couple weeks with NASCAR. We love the great state of Iowa, but if you honeymooned there
At the racetrack,
and you
too.
made it 11 years and you got 5 kids, I would say across the board you're doing a lot of things
We
right.
can go anywhere as long as we get to leave the 5 kids with the grandparents, take a weekend.
Yeah.
Those don't come by often. Nobody wants to watch 5 kids, Adam.
That's
Maybe
right. By the
we're-
way, do the farmers market in a couple of weeks for all those NASCAR fans heading out to Iowa. Let's go down to Amanda Busey.
Yeah, guys, the pole sitter today, Sam Mayer, who has won or been runner-up at 5 of the last 5 road courses that we've gone to, says that the car feels great, nothing really to complain about, but had lost grip on all 4 tires there to the end, so really looking forward to this pit stop. Josh?
Well, normally Austin Hill is a major player here at Portland. Not the case today. Issues with lateral grip and forward drive, and then shattering the tires during that last run. So Austin Hill having some struggles out here today, guys.
I look at that regular season championship. We mentioned Austin Hill today for Cole Custer, Chandler Smith. Those are the 3 that really are in the hunt right now. So pit stops ending stage 2. And as they hit their box, Allgaier leads them down. And we will go to Amanda to begin our pit coverage here. Again, a reminder that 63-second minimum.
And Adam, that made 6 stage wins in a row for the 7. Said he just needs more forward drive on the long run here, Josh.
Well, for the 19 of Josh Bilicki, he had issues with the lateral drive. They made adjustments after stage 1. He said, I'm not sure if it helped. I keep sliding these tires. So he's having some issues trying to help him out with that. For the 18 of Sheldon Creed, he said, I just need more drive off, especially in 7 and 12. That is where the 7 is beating me, Amanda.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the 97 of Shane Van Gisbergen. You'll remember he had that off in stage 2. The team told him, hey, just calm down, breathe. It's a long way to go. Said that the car's feeling pretty good, but they're going to reverse some of the adjustments that they made on the first pit stop. And right in front of him, take a look at A.J. Allmendinger. Told the team that the car is getting back to a place that it feels good. Looking forward to this final stage here at Portland.
Top 3 hold serve. Good stop for Chandler Smith, +2. Ryan Truex, +6.
Wow.
In that number 1 pit stall. We felt like that would be a huge advantage. Herbst got a spot, so did Sage Karam. +2 for Ed Jones and Sam Hunt Racing. And you hate to see it, but Shane Van Gisbergen lost 5 in that exchange. Final stage on the way in Portland. We're road racing, and we're loving it here in the Great Northwest. Tonight it's baseball night in America on Fox as the Cardinals take on Bryce Harper and the NL East leading Phillies. Or the Reds get the Cubs. Maybe you want the Angels and Mariners. Check local listings for the game in your area. All the coverage begins 7 Eastern Time on Fox. Great day in Portland, Oregon. NASCAR Xfinity Series racing here for the 3rd time. Second road course race of 2024. We'll hit the road 6 times this year, including in the playoffs on the Charlotte Roval. In recent years, you better be a good road racer if you're going to run for a championship, because it's become such a huge part of the equation.
Big decision for Sheldon Creed as we approach the choose here. He was in 3rd, if you remember, on that last restart. Actually got to the inside of Van Gisbergen. But if you look at this turn 12 where they have the restart zone, the restart zone is right down here. The inside has such less of a distance, Trevor, to carry around that. I think it's made an advantage even more, not just when you get to turn 1, but as you accelerate and come onto the front stretch, that inside row, I think it makes it really difficult on the guy on the outside.
Yeah, just that arc while you're trying to accelerate, takes forward drive out. The inside car can get pointed straight, as you mentioned. We were talking about if you're second, Jamie, I'm taking the front row. You said you might take the second row on the inside.
Well, and you see Creed chose the outside. I'm just going to work the inside guy down as much as I can so my distance is less. And if I'm Allgaier, I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm trying to push Sheldon as wide as I can go.
And these restarts have become awesome because we've changed the rules.
Well,
once you leave the restart zone, it's on. No staying in line to the start-finish line and all that. We saw it on the last restart, and we'll likely see it here. They've added a lap, so we'll take a break. Final stage coming your way from Portland when we return. All lined up, ready to go. Restart final stage for the Xfinity cars at Portland. And problems for Cole Custer. He was 4th at the end of stage 2. They had a tire issue when they made their pit stop. So he goes from top 5 to 28th in the running order on this restart. Just such disappointment for our reigning champ and the driver that won this race a year ago. Front row, Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed. Here we go, final stage in Portland, Oregon.
See Allgaier check up a little bit. He saw Creed rolling that outside. But Creed's still great through the gears here, able to pull up to the outside of Justin Allgaier.
Yeah,
Creed Smith out of line there.
Side draft him just a little bit, getting down to 1. They know how important this restart is.
He gave him a lot of room, but now he's got the preferred line in turn 2. Runs Allgaier a little wide. See a lot of cars going through the maze there, started by Riley Herbst, Josh Balicki off the track.
Sheldon Creed jumps to the race lead in front of Justin Allgaier.
It's in a little deep into 4, leaves the door open for Justin Allgaier now.
Yeah, Creed got a little bit loose there, and Justin filled the gap. And you see right here, this is the side-by-side that we talked about. You're in a good position in one corner and then the wrong position in the next. And these guys, they know how important the track position has been today, but Sheldon Creed to the front.
And Justin Allgaier is going, where did all these Gibbs cars come from? He's surrounded.
Chandler Smith with an incredible restart up to 3rd. Here it is down into turn 1.
See him here on this outside. He's able to get in turn 1. Gives Justin Allgaier a lot of room and then has the preferred line, as you talked about, as he crosses back into turn 2.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate for Balicki right there. Had such a great run going. You see Karam gets into the back of him a little bit there, turns him around. That was actually, I would say, a pretty tame restart for what we've seen in the past here, knowing what all's on the line.
Only 5 cars went off the track. We had a lead change, but it was calm, Jamie.
Yeah, and you got to give Riley Herbst credit. He saw he wasn't going to make the corner, and if you know you're not going to make it, use up as much as you can to get through the maze right there.
Battle for the lead is on again. Here comes Justin Allgaier. He's going to grab the top spot, or is he headed to turn 3? Creed explodes. They're side by side heading to turn 4. Chandler Smith is right there. Contact up front.
Yeah, Justin's in the preferred position right here. He's going to run Sheldon out just a little bit wide. See if Sheldon gets into the back of him to get him.
Well, Allgaier started it here. He got into Sheldon Creed there.
Oh, yeah. And one thing about it we've learned about Sheldon Creed, if you give it, he's going to give it right back.
By the way, a driver has never swept stage 1 and stage 2 on a road course and won in the Xfinity Series. Problems for the 2 of Jesse Love.
Well, you got to give that guy credit that just jumped right on the hood, never even thought about it.
He had a plan.
Yeah, the whole time he came down that road. We see Allgaier on the right. It's got just a little bit of breathing room. Be interested to see how aggressive Sheldon Creed is into this last turn.
Well, we've seen Justin Allgaier be so good on the long run, so right now is Sheldon Creed's opportunity. He's trying to pack air on the rear bumper to get Justin Allgaier loose, much like we see at the ovals, but he's got to attack hard these next 2 laps to try to get that position and then be defensive.
And you know Sheldon Creed is hungry. 8 times in his career, he's been a runner-up. So close so many times. Felt like 2024 was his year, making the move to Joe Gibbs Racing. They've had a host of mechanical problems that have taken him out of contention in races, but he is in position to get it done. Meanwhile, another one of the Toyotas having trouble here. Sam Hunt Racing's Sage Karam on pit road.
Saw Sheldon Creed right there getting into turn 6, got in a little bit deep, ran wide. Gives Justin just a little bit of breathing room, and that's what you need as the leader. You don't have to run a defensive line like into this corner.
Look who's back.
Gisbergen shoots to the inside of Chandler Smith, and of anyone I don't want to see behind me, that's the guy.
Van Gisbergen, he's fought through a lot today.
Oh.
And here he is in 3rd. The guy running 2nd, the guy running 3rd have never won in NASCAR's Xfinity Series.
Look at that speed he carries. Love that aerial shot into turn 10. Shows how much racetrack they're using, plus the infield.
Yeah, it's so hard to get that run generated off turn 12. It just seems like whoever the front car is gets the power down, and then that takes you out of this passing zone heading down into turn 1.
Chandler Smith poke out a line there, going to try to get that late dive bomb to steal that spot back. Not able to get there.
Got to watch behind him is Chandler Smith. Sam Mayer is right back in the hunt. Started on the pole, had the issues early, lap 1, but he has fought his way all the way back to the top 5. Looking for his 2nd win of the year as Mayer. Won 3 times on the road in 2023.
Yeah, you know, Adam, we talked about Jesse Love and the issues he had where that whole front end was tore up. And I want you to take a look right here, right behind Sam Mayer, as these guys are coming to the green. You see, ooh, that contact right there. It honestly didn't look like he hit him that hard, but destroyed the 2 car and has ended his day.
It's 2 weeks in a row. Jesse Love, the rookie, has had problems. Really fast last week at Charlotte, lost power steering. Turned into a nightmare for him there, and comes here to Portland, where he was 3rd in a West race a couple of years ago, and unfortunately dealing with some problems again.
Yeah, they look.
Allgaier creating some separation at the front. We go side by side with 16 laps to go. Creed, Van Gisbergen, Mayer, Chandler Smith, your top 5. The best thing about side-by-side, when there's racing like this, you miss absolutely nothing. The battle for second, a couple of drivers looking for their first career win. This is all happening more than a second behind Allgaier. It's Creed, it's Van Gisbergen, it's Mayer, it's Chandler Smith. How about it?
Oh yeah, and patience are short right now because Shane Van Gisbergen can see Allgaier getting away. Now Creed pulls down, but we've seen Shane shoot into turn 1, try to outbrake him. You see Sam Mayer now trying to get inside of Van Gisbergen. The problem is you can get inside of him in turn 1, but the way the chicane is shaped, you can't complete the pass.
Who's fastest? Not surprising, Justin Allgaier, because he's out front by himself, but back behind him, you know, we highlight Riley Herbst, and unfortunately he has a problem.
Yeah, and the reason that 2nd through 7th is not running good lap times is because they're all racing right here. Creed's holding this pack up just a little bit. The fact that he's having to drive just a little bit defensive to keep Van Gisbergen and Mayer behind him, but this is going to end bad for somebody because patience are running short.
How is it not already? I don't know how these guys haven't run off track. Oh, right here, we're probably going to get a little dirt on the tires, but Shane Van Gisbergen kept getting to the inside, challenged Creed 5-6 times, finally gets by, and now Sam Mayer follows him through.
The best thing for Shane Van Gisbergen right there is that Sam Mayer might clear him as well, and it's going to give him a little bit of breathing room because Creed's going to be mad at the way he was raced right there. If you're Van Gisbergen, you want to get just far enough away that he can't get back to your rear bumper.
Well, he's back.
Creed's hanging on to his car, though, guys. You see in the middle of the corner how slow he is. He's able to get a pretty good exit, but he looks so slow trying to roll the middle, just fighting a balance issue.
13 laps to go. I want to give a call to Cole Custer. Had the tire problem on the pit stop. Restarted outside the top 25. He is in the top 15. Here comes Sam Mayer. He's through to 3rd, getting by Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, and those guys know we've got to get by because Justin Allgaier has almost a 3-second lead right now. We'll have to watch the lap times of Mayer and Van Gisbergen, see can they run Justin back down. Justin's running 75 50s right now. pretty solid lap times for this point in the run.
Jamie, I don't know about you, but when I ran Xfinity, my crew chief would always say, just keep all 4 tires on the pavement, have all the body panels on, and you'll have a top 10 day.
Yep.
Now you can spin out, go through the chicane, off-road, and here we find 2 of those guys in the top 3 with Sam Mayer working his way back all the way from outside the top 20 up into 3rd position.
Yeah, and we're going to find out is what does the 7 car have in it? Once we have a caution,
First,
complete reset now.
We had that caution on the final lap of stage 2. But this is the first time that the game really has changed when you talk about the caution in the middle of a run today. 3rd caution of the afternoon. You saw Haley Deegan, who was a couple of laps, maybe 3 laps down, had problems. Tire carcass came off is what we're hearing from our spotters. You reset, and this changes everything. Going to be a restart right around 10 laps to go. And to say it's going to get physical would be an understatement. Here's what happened to Haley.
Yeah, she's limping this car back to pit road. Knows she has a flat. That carcass comes off and ends up being in the racetrack in the way.
Yeah, this is worst case scenario for Justin Allgaier. I know he's done a great job taking care of the tires. We saw the battle from 2nd through 5th, how hard they were racing. But that 3-second lead that Allgaier had worked for, it's gone now. He's got to deal with this restart into turn 1.
And it doesn't matter who has the fastest car at this point, because on the restart, everybody's is going to be all, in a pack. It's going to be who's the most aggressive, maybe a little bit of luck of the accordion effect when we get down into turn 1. But these last few restarts, like we've seen the last couple of years, are going to be epic here.
He was part of that one last year, right? Leading the race and had the 48 of Parker Kligerman get to the inside from 3rd, wiped him out.
And if you watched the restarts from last year, being on the inside is a big advantage when we get to turn 1, because when the guy on the inside blows the corner, he pushes the guy on the outside out, and you have to go through the maze, the chicane in the chicane. So big decision for Shane Van Gisbergen. Does he choose the inside, the outside? Is he able to race Justin Allgaier down into turn 1? And the same thing, for Allgaier, I would want Sam Mayer behind me being my teammate, so hopefully the 97 will choose to the outside.
I'm taking the outside. I think what we saw, them lunging, letting off the brake between 1 and 2, if you can get that position and roll up. Amanda, what are they saying on that 97 here?
Yeah, I was just taking a look at Blue Schlickler that came down and talked to his team for a little bit, but you guys got to remember Shane had that little bit of off in stage 2, and his team reminded him, hey, there is a long way to go in this race, and look where we have found him. The winner of this caution is Shane Van Gisbergen. As you guys said, that gap to Justin Allgaier has now dissipated, but Bruce, as you're looking at now, told me earlier today that he's really impressed with Shane's ability to get up to speed with the track so quickly. That is on display here in Portland.
Bruce Schlicker paired with Shane Van Gisbergen. I got to tell you, that
2 peas in a pod.
that's just mean to all of us in the media, isn't it? Give a call to Bruce, though, because so many times this year, Shane goes these tracks he's never seen, experiencing stuff he never has in a race car, and he finds his way inside the top 10, top 15. We saw it last week at Charlotte. Maybe a win today. SVG 2nd to Allgaier. Setting up for a fun ending in Portland, Oregon. Justin Allgaier hopes he's the one collecting the checkered flag. So many disappointments late in races this year. Inside of 5 to go, leading at Phoenix. You saw him lose the tire, hit the wall. Dover, all that crazy strategy. This was last week at Charlotte after winning stage 1, stage 2, and turned into the wall. He's had some dominant race cars this year. That 7 team has been on it. Haven't always got the fruits of their labor, and if they don't win today, it will be a major disappointment.
There's a good chance that this restart could go on either highlight reel. He could be on top of the car, or it could be on that one we just saw, based off of how these races have gone so far.
Gonna do the choose, and we'll get this restart. I almost said the final restart. I'm not
I'm
comfortable
gonna
going
say
that
it's
far.
not the final restart.
10 to go is when we'll restart.
Yeah, and Justin's just got to get the best launch that he can so that he doesn't have to race Van Gisbergen down into turn 1, because if Shane can stay beside him down into turn 1, he's then going to be in the preferred spot. It's all about that launch though when they get to the restart zone, and like we talked about earlier, being on the inside that little bit shorter distance, if Justin can time that out right, he'll be able to clear it.
Well, Shane saw Sheldon Creed get by Justin Allgaier on the last restart from 2nd place, was able to side draft down the front stretch. You're okay if you give up a half of a car of a lunge, because then you can side draft, be on that outside through turn 1, roll that exit of 1, take it away.
So they added a lap, and we're going to do it all again here. I guess I thought we were in a good spot there, and then everything kind of got shaken loose. So we'll wait and see how NASCAR evaluates this as we come around the next time.
Somebody's trying to ice that front row there,
Yeah.
like calling a timeout on the kicker.
Yes, right, yeah. Or the free throw shooter.
That's right.
So we'll get the restart with 9 to go. Going back to Justin Allgaier and everything he's done. That win at Darlington was the 24th of his career. Put him top 10 on the all-time wins list, matching his boss, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale did a great thing this week. He hit 1 million followers on Instagram. So with that, he gave $1 million to charity. And he's been such a cornerstone for Xfinity Series competition, has had this team for many years. And when Justin won that race a few weeks ago, he spoke so highly of him and everything he's meant, not just to their race team, but the history of the Xfinity Series, 450 starts. If he finishes out this year, as we all anticipate, right, no issues in that regard, comes back next year, Allgaier hit 500 starts in his career. So, you know, Dale's been great for the Xfinity Series, but this driver's been good for Dale in the series as well.
Well, Justin and I came in together into the Xfinity Series. He was about a year before me, and we became close friends, had a lot of battles on the racetrack. It was funny. We'd be in a Bible study on Saturday morning, then we'd about be fighting on Saturday night with each other. You know, he was just an aggressive racer, but over the years, his experience has allowed him to calm down. You know, I was just thinking about this restart coming up. You've got Shane Van Gisbergen, who's in his first full-time season, trying to prove that he can win again in NASCAR. Justin Allgaier, on the other hand, who hasn't won a road course race in years, but a little bit more calm and a veteran experience here.
Do we know why he has cherries on his car this week? Have we covered that yet?
You go ahead. I want to give it to
because in the U.S., most of the tart cherries are harvested in Oregon and the state of Washington in the areas that we're racing today. What about that? I'm gonna thank Twitter
in honor of the late Paul Harvey. Now you know the rest of the story. They waved off the last choose, which I anticipated because there were like 15 guys that took the inside lane. I'm like, something's not right here. So now we do the choose. And I say 15, it was like 15 of the first 20.
Really not a lot to the choose at, you know, at this particular track. Once you get past that first or second row, it's just kind of an alternate, trying to get as far up as you can, unlike at some of the ovals where we see guys, you know, favor the inside or the bottom.
Sheldon Creed going row 2, Josh.
And you guys talked about drivers being calm. That is far from the emotion from Sheldon Creed during that last run. He felt in stage 2, they got the car where it needed to be, but in stage 3, he said, the rear is totally out of the track. I don't know what happened with where this car went. Also frustrated trying to hold off the 97 during that last run. Came over the radio and said, hey, we both can get to the 7, but I'm using up my stuff to hold off the 97. Not the 97's problem, but certainly a problem for the 18 right there.
Well, you got that right, Josh. They have dialed this 97 back in after we saw him lose positions, rolling into the restart zone here.
Restart, 9 to go.
Oh, Allgaier waited just a little bit, trying to catch Shane off guard, and it worked well. And you see Sheldon Creed fill in that middle. Great restart for
We're going to be 3 wide for second. Mayer is there. Chandler Smith is there. Yes, 4 wide for a moment.
Chandler felt better, but now he's 4 wide again.
Creed gets through to second. Sam Mayer is there. Van Gisbergen going in the wrong direction. They're wrestling for position in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I think this is great news for Justin Allgaier because Creed's car is not as good as the 97 and the 1 at this point in the race. Did you see the 97 get into Sam Mayer a little bit in turn 4?
I just think the aggression level on restarts in NASCAR is unmatched. You cannot prepare for that. I don't care what kind of racing you've done anywhere in the world. The aggression in the Xfinity Series is so high.
Yeah, and we just heard, Josh was talking about Creed's frustration with Van Gisbergen, and it's not necessarily that Shane did anything wrong there. It's that Creed's car was going the wrong direction. Shane was, trying to get by him, and now it starts all over again. Shane's gonna have to try to pass him one more time.
Yeah, and when I say aggression, I'm not talking running people off the track or hitting them with your bumper. It's just being on, setting the kill from the drop of the green flag.
Damage there to Chandler Smith's car. You see, he's gotten into the back of somebody, maybe when the car is all checked up.
A lot of smoke out of that exhaust there as well now.
A lot of problems for Joe Gibbs Racing on this restart. We see Chandler Smith, Sheldon Creed going to be penalized, and we've got a crash off of turn 12.
Brandon Jones involved in that.
Brandon Jones is 3 feet in that tire burn. Look at how deep that car is.
Look at this. Well, we said it. Cautions breed cautions.
You said it.
Did you say it?
We were clean in stage 1 and stage 2, and here we are in the final stage. Less than 15 to go, and the caution is out again. This our 4th yellow of the day.
And for Allgaier, he hates this because you only have so many tricks up your sleeve of what you're going to do on the restart. You got to do something different every time. I thought he did a great job with the last one. He'll have to come up with something else to do on this next one.
Well, and obviously Chandler Smith has a couple wins to fall back on, but Brandon Jones with that runner-up finish last week was hoping to build momentum here. We saw that playoff leaderboard earlier, still trying to fight his way into the playoffs. Not the day he was looking for. Spent time yesterday preparing, running the ARCA race.
Brandon Jones came in 15 points above the playoff cut line after that great run last Saturday in Charlotte, but unfortunately going to record a DNF with a late incident in Portland.
I can't wait to go back and see what caused all this. We almost had like 2 separate incidents. It looked like in the same corner as we were focused on Chandler Smith. This all broke out.
In all kinds of equipment.
It's almost like that car is stuck on something in there, yeah.
Meanwhile, the leaders drive by. It'll be 7 laps to go this time.
Whoa. All right. That's one way to get it out of there. See Brandon moving around a little bit inside the car there.
Yeah, I think he stayed in thinking, not knowing how bad the damage is.
It's bad.
Right? Like,
it's bad.
We can tell him he can get out.
Yeah, that or he just felt like unsafe to get out when he might pull me in the wrong direction, and now I'm sure he's gotten word that he can climb from the race car. This brings me to some of these cars getting banged up late in this race. Another road course race next Saturday. So how do you manage your fleet of cars going down to Sonoma? And I know a lot of these top tier teams will bring a couple of vehicles and they'll plan to run a different primary next Saturday at Sonoma than what they ran here today, but that's something to consider as we look down the road in 7 days as Jones takes off the helmet and climbs from the race car. Always a good sign anytime you have contact like that. Well, let's rewind. I mentioned this briefly. Sheldon Creed penalized on the restart. You guys tell me what you see here.
Yeah, if you look right there, they have to cross that white line, and he got out of line before that, so he's going to get penalized for basically getting out of line too soon.
And you touched on that earlier, how hard that would be to actually pull out of line too soon, because normally it's a start-finish line. Here
I didn't think it was possible, actually.
Now we know.
And I thought Chandler Smith did a nice job backing out right there, getting himself in the right position. You see him off in the background.
44 is Brennan Poole.
Second.
Oh, and Jones just has nowhere to go right there, trying to get to the outside of Blaine Perkins, who both of those cars end up. You don't realize how fast you're going on a road course until things start to go wrong.
Yeah, and the way that this racetrack works is kind of like Watkins Glen on the exit of the last corner, where things just bottleneck, and once somebody's sideways, there's absolutely nowhere to go.
Yeah, and these guys are all being aggressive in the back of the pack. And we were focused over here on
Possibly
Chandler Smith.
fluid coming out of the exhaust pipes. I don't know if it's burning.
Could have been, yeah. That's a good point, Trevor. Could have been some fluid coming out of the car, but this wreck happens on around the corner, and it's really Brennan Poole just hooking Blaine Perkins that sends him then out into the main flow of traffic. You hear his engine. Yeah, his engine does blow up right there. He has the damage from something else.
Well, I remember back in qualifying, you talked about his early downshifts and how that can be really hard on the engine, and it let go right as he got into turn 10.
Big hit for Brandon Jones right there.
Andre Castro got damage in the 14. Saw Ryan Ellis spinning around. Teammates from Alpha Prime, both with some contact there and damage. Fourth caution of the day. Crash in turn 12 involving multiple vehicles. Restart with 5 remaining or so. Allgaier leading. Just about time to finish it for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in Portland, Oregon. 13th race of the year, second time we've done battle on a road course. It's been a great day for Justin Allgaier. Wins stage 1, stage 2. He's led 44 laps, and he's out front for this late restart. But oh, there's going to be so much to manage. It's going to get aggressive. Let's do the choose. We'll go green with 5 to go. No, we're not going to choose here, evidently. One more lap before we choose. So probably 4 to go on the restart here when we come around and do the choose.
Well, you notice that 18 cars missing out of that lineup. From second place, Sheldon Creed trying to get that first Xfinity win, but up on top of that pit box, I've got to imagine this is just as frustrating for first-year crew chief Sam McCauley, longtime engineer on the 11 Cup car, has come down here to try to be a crew chief, and these opportunities don't come often when you're battling for a win. So frustrating for drivers, but even more so for a crew chief who had nothing to do with it.
Looking at our top 5, 3 Junior Motorsports Chevys there, just like last week, just like here a year ago, and the man in charge, Justin Allgaier, Amanda.
Yeah, and Jim, you just told your driver congratulations on keeping a clean race car here today, but to go ahead and use it up for the rest of this race, what are you expecting on this restart?
Well, last year it got pretty ugly for us down there. Ended up losing the race over it, so I would expect probably more of the same of that. I don't know, he's done a really good job today. This the Brandt Cherry Camaro has been really good all day, and hopefully we can close it out.
Thank you, Jim. He also had his own work today, guys. When we got over here for the interview, he still had his head sock on.
Jackman Jim Pullman.
Jack of all trades.
He used to be he was a tire changer for a long time. I remember that back in the day.
What is this, a dad joke extravaganza?
Yeah, I can do those.
Yes, you can.
Extravaganza, this one.
I think Pullman had the right attitude heading into that, though. I mean, being super realistic, knowing that this restart, you've got probably a 50% chance of coming out of this with the lead and hopefully not spun around.
We'll do the choose, get to restart coming up here tomorrow. The United Football League regular season finale is in prime time as the Houston Roughnecks battle the Memphis Showboats. It all kicks off tomorrow night, 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. I mentioned Junior Motorsports, how good they've been today with those 3 cars inside the top 5. Give some love to Ryan Truex, who's had a good afternoon. Parker Kligerman in the 48 has had a lot to overcome. Ed Jones knocking on the door of a career best in 7th. Allmendinger back up there in 8th. And Cole Custer, who had that bad pit stop, was outside the top 25, is returned to the top 10.
How about that 8 of Sammy Smith? I mean, we have not really talked about him since the first lap when he got spun out there, making his way back inside the top 5. And to be honest, it's not a bad place to be right now, Adam. Row 2.
No, and when you get down to turn 1, depending on what happens on that front row, that second or third row very possibly could come out with the lead when they exit turn 2.
Josh?
Well, down here with the crew chief of the 20 of Ryan Truex is Tyler Allen. What are you telling your driver in terms of being able to take this thing home and get his second win of the season?
I was just telling him to clean him up and get ready for the chaos. No one knows what's going to happen here. We'll have 4 to go on the restart. It's up to him, man. We'll just avoid the chaos, and I really think we're in a good spot.
Another one of the crew chiefs that's gone over the wall here today. Good luck the rest of the way.
Well, head socks are the trend
They
for
are.
crew chiefs on pit box apparently today.
Probably won't see that tomorrow in the Cup race at St. Louis,
Probably
I'm
not.
guessing. Truex Allgaier, the only drivers up there inside the top 10 that haven't had a problem today. And it was a Junior Motorsports car that had a chance to win at Dover, and Truex, who we hadn't talked a lot about throughout the day, went up there and stole it away. So we'll see if history repeats itself. He's got some ground to make up, though, as we do the choose, and he will be 5th prior to that.
I think we have a new format for the All-Star qualifying next year. The crew chief's got to go over the wall, carry a tire, jack a car, something.
I wouldn't check your phone after this. You're going to have some bad messages in there.
Well, we'll see what Justin Allgaier's got up his sleeve. See if he can get a good jump again on Shane Van Gisbergen. What I would be worried about if I'm Justin is Shane's had a couple of shots at it now. One of these is going to work out for him. He hasn't done a good job the last couple, but eventually it's going to work out.
Do you mix it up here for your Allgaier, or keep it the same, keep it slow, rolling into the
I'm not
box?
going to
What
tell
do
you, Trevor. My secret.
4 laps to go. Will this be the final restart? Do we get another caution? Front row, Justin Allgaier in control. Beside him, Shane Van Gisbergen.
There was again that little bit of a double checkup in the middle of the zone. Got a good jump. Shane's going to have a chance to jump to the inside here with Sammy Smith on his outside.
Sammy Smith is there, right behind the battle for second. Sam Mayer. Allgaier grabs the lead into turn 1, turn 2.
Shocking that all of those guys made it through turns 1, 2. Look at the run that Van Gisbergen gets out of turn 2. Going to be to the inside of Justin Allgaier to go through turn 4. Oh, look how loose Van Gisbergen is on his inside.
Turn 4, turn 5. The battle for the lead is on. Inside of 5 laps to go at Portland. There goes Shane Van Gisbergen. Around Justin Allgaier, they have contact.
I think Justin feels like maybe a little bit unfair there. You saw him get into the back of Shane.
I didn't see much unfair there.
I didn't either.
Good,
no,
hard racing.
I didn't say what we saw. I'm saying what he thought he felt.
Sam Mayer up to 3rd. Sammy Smith is right there behind him.
Yeah, this is an area that if you want to pay somebody back right here into turn 12, pretty easy to do just to get to their bumper and use them up just a little bit.
What a bad flashback for Justin Allgaier, who a year ago found himself in second after the late race restart, trying to catch Cole Custer. Now it's Shane Van Gisbergen. Sam Mayer working his bumper.
Yeah, and it just seems like the 7 can't get going on this restart. We've seen him be able to get that little bit of a comfortable lead on each of these, but his car just has not fired off the way that he wants to. Let's see, maybe after a lap bridge, Trevor, he can get it going again.
That dirty air adjustment never helps these things, does it?
Never gets better.
3 laps to go for Shane Van Gisbergen. Allgaier would love to get there, but he's also trying to hold off his teammate for second. Sam Mayer is fast in the 1.
It's challenging, Adam, when you're having to protect. You have to charge the entry, shallow the entries up because you know you're under attack. And Justin hasn't had to do that all day. He's been able to have these wide open arcs and roll off the brake pedal, and he can't do that right now.
Yeah, you just can't race in defense mode and have any lap time. You see he opened up his entry right there. Mayer tried to get to his inside. I'll tell you what, though, for as much as they're racing, the 97's not getting away as far as I thought he would.
Justin can get about a 2-3 car gap, which you see it opening up a little bit. If he can get off a turn 12 with that gap, I think he could go challenge Shane.
Yeah, this isn't over. I mean, I think the 7 had the fastest car. It just didn't fire off very well initially, and it seemed like the 97 did, but now it's almost like it's flipped right now. You see the 7 car kind of coming on. It seems like the 97 might be struggling a bit.
The 1 got the tire barrier there off of turn 12 using all the racetrack, but that's that gap that Justin Allgaier needed.
And that's good. Oh, you see he's got a flat tire there, Sam Mayer. That could be a caution. That carcass comes off. That's a long ways to have to go around this racetrack.
Let's go back and see what happened inside of 2 laps to go.
Just trying to get all he can to get that run down the front stretch, hoping he can outbrake Allgaier into turn 1, gets into the tire barrier.
Limping that thing around, that's a long ways to go. We saw it with Haley Deegan earlier. The tire come off and cause a caution, but
once Shane Van Gisbergen gets back to the white flag, the next flag would end the race. Something to keep an eye on as we also watch Sam Mayer limping around the racetrack with that tire issue.
Yeah, this is getting good. The 7's a little quicker than the 97 right now. It's going to be all about putting together the perfect lap here on the white flag lap.
We heard him talk about making those adjustments on the 97 at the last pit stop, and they have woken up the beast.
Here they come off of turn 12, back to the start-finish line. They'll see the white flag this time. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Shane Van Gisbergen in the lead and trying to finish it off here in Portland.
Yeah, he got off at turn 12 really well, but you see Allgaier sails it down into turn 1, closes right up to the rear bumper. He's loose off of turn 2, though, and not going to get the drive that he needs on the exit.
What a day it's been for SVG.
Which part of it, Adam? Off the track, on the track?
Qualifies up front, but has been banged up throughout the afternoon, sent in multiple directions, time off the track, but stayed in the game, the late rally, the awesome restart, and now just a half a lap away from his first career victory in an Xfinity car.
Well, he had to work for this one. We think back to Coda when he's leading on the last lap and it gets taken away. He shows up at the Chicago Street Course in the Cup Series, thinks, hey, this might be easy, but now in the Xfinity Series, he's had to fight for it.
Truex is off track. Down the back straightaway, turns 10, 11, and 12 for Shane Van Gisbergen. Supercar champion, comes to the States. Trevor talked about his hot start, winning for the first time ever in a Cup car at Chicago. Today, the 13th time he's driven an Xfinity car, and he's going to get it done. Career win number 1 for Shane Van Gisbergen comes in Portland, Oregon.
Well, that is just not at all the way we thought his day was going to go. I think most of us thought that the 97, the 16 were going to dominate this race. But as you said, Trevor, just really had to work for that.
He wasted no time to do some burnouts over here. Earned it, though, and did it cleanly. He didn't send Justin Allgaier off into turn 1. You know, he makes it down into turn 3, 4, gets to his inside, gets him loose, but in a
super, super hard racing, fun to watch.
Allgaier ends up second. Sammy Smith was third. Back-to-back top 5s for him. Allmendinger back to the top 5. Same for Ed Jones. Van Gisbergen, your winner. You saw it side by side, a celebration for the ages. How incredible was that from Shane Van Gisbergen?
I've never seen someone drift like that after the race. I think that should be his signature. He should do that everywhere he can win at.
I don't think we have the car control to do that, Tim. He was sideways the whole lap around and not slow. He was at speed.
Yeah, really fun to watch.
A huge win because it's the first of his career.
Popular win. Listen to the crowd.
Year 1, he's going to the playoffs. How awesome is that?
This team's no stranger to wins at road courses. A.J. Allmendinger coming home in the top 5. His teammate has maybe paved the way for him to be here battling for this win.
What's up, Josh?
Shane Van Gisbergen getting his first career Xfinity Series win. Shane, for you, we know road course racing is your bread and butter. Go ahead, my friend, go ahead. I mean, that's a first right there, too. We know road course racing is your bread and butter. You qualify up front, but everything in the middle of the race was a battle. Talk me through getting the lead back on that final restart and ultimately what it took to get the win.
Hey, well, firstly, I'm very sorry to Sam Mayer and the one team for the first corner. I just mucked up there and just clipped him, so very sorry. He got back well, but yeah, Quadlock Chevy, thanks Cooler Racing, Trackhouse guys, and yeah, what a day. It was really cool, had some great racing. I need to get better at my restarts and learn how to position, but man, that was so much fun. Really, really cool racing.